Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls. This is Book 7, Under a Red Moon, Chapter 82, Sympathy for a Devil. And in just a few minutes, we'll do a recap and get into things, and we'll just see what that title means. But can you guys believe this is Chapter 82?
Jesus, we're creeping up on 100.
Yeah.
We gotta. That's gonna be an event.
Well, we'll see if you guys survive enough to make it to 83. There's just the three of you. There's a couple of ghost characters, not literal ghosts, but Kane and Vornush'ka are still there, I guess, in spirit.
These two so and so's.
Yeah. Couple of quick announcements. If you missed it last night, we had our 5th session of our Mythos Investigators Call of Cthulhu game, Lawlerville. It was a good one. You can catch that and the previous 4 episodes over on youtube.com/mini-terrain-domain, although that's not currently up yet because we just aired it last night. So it'll be a few days yet before that one goes up. But you can catch that and all of our VODs over there on YouTube. No, not tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so never mind. Actually, yes, tomorrow night, Tuesday, I will be over on Erasmus Expeditions, Jeremy's channel. We are playing in a game called All the Small Things, or All the Little Things, one of those, in a system called Household. So we are all little tiny miniature people living in a big giant house. So that'll be fun. And then Thursday you can catch us on Kids on Bikes RPG Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, which we just finished last Thursday, another arc. And we're getting ready to start an all-new arc. So big things happened. You'll have to tune in or catch them on the VOD to see what happened. But let's say that M's character Jessica is more of a person than she was when she went into the Nexus project. So anyway, that's enough about our other shows. If you look up above M's head, you will notice the domain tomes. And I will drop a new one up in there. Domain tomes are the domain dice for this game. Domain dice are a way that you, the audience, can influence the game. For a $5 tip, subscription, gift subscription, Ko-Fi support, or 500 bits, you can purchase a domain die for the players. In this game, the domain tomes, as they're called, I don't know why that didn't work. They can use them basically like a hero point for Pathfinder 2e. There it goes. To re-roll a check, there is an option where you can use 3 domain tomes to avoid death. It can only be used once per player per session. 5 domain tomes is a change of fate. Adjust the level of success of any check by 1 degree up or down for either the player or the GM. But they only get those tomes from people subscribing, resubbing, all that good stuff. So keep that in mind. Let's see. A reminder, just to let everybody know that we, the players, all have safety tools in place to protect ourselves and make sure that we are adhering to our agreed upon lines and veils. At times, these games can get intense. They might have adult language. They might have graphic depictions of scenes, violence, those kind of things. If any of that is something that bothers you, please head on over to another stream. We will not be offended. And the last thing before we get into the game is actually one more thing before we get into it. Cari, I told you could make your announcement tonight again.
Oh yeah. Everybody, if you find yourself at Gen Con this coming weekend, check out another game I play in called Dice Tales Live. We are performing live at Gen Con at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So if you are in for some hijinks, you don't need to be up to date on our current campaign. We are playing modified versions of us. So you don't need any backstory at all. You can just come and have a good time and laugh and cry and all that good stuff. So check us out if you're there.
Awesome. So the last thing that I want to mention, oh, I keep saying last thing. I forgot to mention this last night. I'm going to mention it again. You can type !donate. There is now a link in chat. Our own big bearded nerd has joined Pavlov across America this summer, riding 1,000 miles and raising money to help fight childhood cancer. He's riding in honor of his father-in-law, Mark. If you want to learn more about that, get updates to what he's doing, and have a direct donation link to support that, you can follow the link in the chat, or you can type !donate at any time. This is their first year doing the virtual tour, which Dwight is a part of. And we've had a chance, Dwight and I, to talk with some of the people over at Pavlov, and they're very excited to have Dwight be a part of that. And he's riding virtually along with people like Blair Herter, who is sort of heading that up. And Blair Herter, some may recognize his name if you're as old as me, as somebody who's been involved with MTV's Road Rules and what was the other one where they were in a house together? I don't remember what it's called now. Anyway,
Big Brother?
No,
Real World.
Real World. Oh. Thank you. But yeah, follow that link, check that out. And now, truly, the last thing before we get started is just a reminder that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. That's why we talk about it before every game. We want you to understand that, first of all, we recognize that people can be struggling for any number of reasons. We want you to know that it is okay to not be okay. It's okay to have those struggles, but you do not have to struggle alone. At any time, you can come into our chat and type !help, and a couple of URLs will pop up. Findahelpline.com, or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, Cari, what time is it?
It's time to find some paths, bitches.
You seem a lot less confident in that. I can't
imagine
exclamation.
Why. Sneaky bastard.
So, we are going to bring you up to speed a little bit. After dealing with the ogre clan of hillbilly ogres that were causing you all a bunch of trouble, they are causing no one in this region trouble anymore, as you saw to it that by the time you left, their entire homestead was obliterated, and Mammy Grawl ran away, floated away into the woods, and disappeared through a magical portal. Shortly after those adventures, you ran into some members of the Order of Black Arrows, a group of rangers patrolling the area, who gave you a little more information on what was going on at the old Thessalonian ruin known as Skull River Crossing. They had observed trolls and ogres in a heated battle, and it appeared as though the trolls had won. The trolls were building a bridge over a broken section of the dam, but the more concerning part was that the large skull mechanisms on the front of the dam that function as floodgates were malfunctioning. With overwatch from the ogres, from the rangers, you were able to head down to the dam, where you met an Etten named Gorger and Chaw, and Flip, with some fast talking, convinced the Etten to bring you directly to the ogres, And in a brilliant show of negotiations and diplomacy, Flip moved the disposition of the trolls from openly hostile towards you to actually friendly, which for trolls means they're probably not going to kill and eat you, and they're going to let you do what you want to do. They did tell you that they were none of them wanted to go below into the workings of the dam because there was something evil down there. Of course, that did not dissuade you all from descending the 150 feet down below the surface into the bowels of this dam, where you discovered some pools of water and a miniaturized model of the dam that did appear to somehow function in some way as a manual operation of the dam, though it was also showing that it was malfunctioning. You saw in front of the doors that had some Old Thessalonian writing on them a massive pile of skulls that quickly, well, first you started hearing whispers. You were spoken to by a disembodied voice that talked to you about having knowledge of what was happening with the stealing of souls, and it was directly almost mocking those of you that are in service to or get your powers from Pharasma. And then all of the skulls formed into a giant headless scorpion made of skulls and proceeded to attack you all, but you made short work of it, reducing it to a pile once again of skulls. At which point the Thessalonian language resolved to read infernal engines. Going into that room, you discovered a desiccated pit fiend in a magic circle, while the other magic circle held crimson dust. You learned that this demon had been imprisoned 10,000 years ago, along with its partner, or counterpart, not necessarily partner, that it was they were specifically called by the Rune Lord Karzog to power the dam, imprisoned for eternity. However, 54 years ago, when the last storms caused flooding, the other pit fiend succumbed and turned to a pile of ash, and this remaining pit fiend can no longer sustain the power needed. Your choices were to attempt to step into the other magic circle and attempt to give a small bit of your life force to open the floodgates. Possibly you could have destroyed the pit fiend or let it free. In either case, a long-term solution is still needed. Teera, adamant to save the town of Turtleback Ferry and possibly tens of thousands of lives downstream, volunteered, first promising the pit fiend that she would release it, and then with a fierce determination raised the portcullis and stepped into the magic circle. As Teera stepped into the magic circle, the runes illuminated and light shot up to the ceiling, imprisoning Teera in a circle of light. And that is exactly where we are going to pick up now. Teera.
Okay.
As you are standing there in the circle and suddenly these runes illuminate and you see as each one shoots up to the ceiling, for a moment, everything goes silent. It's as if you've immediately lost your sense of hearing.
Okay.
And then there is, just a moment later, a tremendous onslaught of sound in your ears, a cacophony that is very difficult to pinpoint what this sound even is. It's an amalgamation of multiple sounds happening all around you, and it takes a moment for you to realize that this is less just sound than it is reverberations and sensations in every nerve ending in your body. In an instant, Teera, you have become aware of every stone, every pebble, every grain of sand, every bone that makes up the structure that is the Skull River crossing. You are also aware of the billions of gallons of water that are pressing against the dam from the Storval Deep. You feel the pressure in your body as if your bones are about to shatter. You are feeling what the dam is feeling, the sensation that within days, if nothing is done to release these floodgates, the dam, you will burst, you will break, you will cease to exist, and the waters of the Storval Deep will rush forward. At the same time, you feel another presence. You can feel the Pit Fiend. The two of you are becoming less and less your individual selves. You feel your human nature intertwining with an ancient devil, a Pit Fiend. In this moment, as you are feeling these sensations, you've lost your ability to even see around you with your friends what is happening. There is only the Storval Deep pressing against you, the dam that is you and the Pit Fiend that are holding everything in place. What do you say, think, or attempt to do in this moment, Teera?
So, I guess Teera would kind of like, in answer to this enormous pressure. I don't know what physically is happening to Teera, like what the others are seeing or anything. But like in her head, she's like thinking, trying to reach out to this Pit Fiend. And just kind of like trying to see, like, and eventually she reaches out and just says, "All right, you're gonna guide me through this. What do we need to do? How do we do it? We need to do it quickly. I can feel that we need to do it very quickly."
You're not so much talking as you're thinking these words, and you feel them connecting with the mind of this Pit Fiend. As you think these thoughts, they just happen instantly, and you feel coming back at you. You promised to let me go. You promised you would free me.
I will. After we fix this damn dam.
The moment you stepped into that circle, you broke your promise.
How the fuck was I supposed to know that?
If it doesn't kill us, if it doesn't kill you, it will most certainly kill me. You must give of yourself. You must sense the mechanisms below us. Reach out. Feel through all of the stones and mortar, the sands, the bones. Feel below us the mechanisms. And as he's talking, you can feel as if you can see
Just like
where the water comes in below and presses against the back of these skulls. There are mechanisms that are controlled by this arcane and even divine contraption that willing yourself, willing to give of your life force, will control all of these mechanisms. Well, the four that remain, because you also feel almost like a hole in your heart. You feel the missing mechanism where it was damaged from the ogres and the storms. But you know that if you push hard enough with you and the Pit Fiend, you should be able to release the mechanisms. Flip, Marda, Vornush'ka, and Kane, what you see is as Teera steps in, you see these sigils light up, and you notice over where the pit fiend is, the sigils illuminate and they shoot up towards the ceiling. And you watch as Teera immediately is forced into an upright position and is levitating, her toes barely touching the ground, and her head is snapped backwards. And she has opened her mouth and her eyes, and you just see light spilling forth and blending in with these runes and almost like swirling around her. And you see the same from the pit fiend as its desiccated body is lifted off the ground and tilted back, and you see the same light twirling around, and you see as the light is coming out of their eyes and mouth, you see it splitting into multiple tendrils, interweaving with the arcane symbols, but you see them going up and down into the floor, and you can even see them almost like worms moving their way through the stone out and around you. Is there anything that any of you would do in this moment or attempt to do?
Marda is looking in, I think, disbelief, concern for sure, as even, in the best of times, like, fiends are not to be messed with. So she, and after her information that she gave to Teera, I think that she is, I don't know that she would do anything. I think she's waiting to see what happens.
Flip? Anything in particular?
Are there any recall knowledge checks that might be helpful for this situation, or?
I would say, specifically because of the nature of this, would be arcane. Like an arcana or
lore legal.
I definitely religion or occultism.
All right. Well, all those being equal, I would do bardic lore.
I died.
Alright.
Flip, you need to write a song about me. That's the deal.
Teera made a deal with a pit fiend. Now she's dead. That's the end. That's all you're getting.
That's it.
There's
Jesus.
This is a
It's
really
a
stupid idea on Teera's part.
top 10 billboard.
Flip doesn't feel the need to immortalize her followings.
Wow.
30 bardic lore. Or occultism. Really, it's the same shit.
This is ancient magic that a lot of knowledge even of this type of magic has not survived. Most of it from before Starfall. Most of this stuff has been lost to time. The obvious sign is this is a powerful magical ritual, the very nature of which evades you.
Okay.
Teera, as you feel these sensations traveling through your body, and you feel each of these mechanisms, you know that by willing yourself, willingly giving of your life force, that all of the mechanisms will work in tandem. Or rather, sorry, not in tandem, will work in sequence. That you are in a position where or rather, you understand that while you hold the possibility to control and release these floodgates, there is a chance that you won't be able to control how much life force you are giving. And you will potentially give all of yourself to this. Teera, I need you to make a fortitude save.
Okay. I will.
I'm gonna
Good
feel really
question.
bad if Teera dies when I'm the one who manipulated her into entering this fucking thing.
I got a
Is
24.
there,
Oh, sorry. Marda.
is there any way that Marda can like sense that she is messed up with her life force? Or maybe
I would
giving it all?
allow you the same type of check that Flip made for occultism, religion, or arcana. It is a very high DC. I will give you, and I would give Flip the same thing retroactively, though it wouldn't have made a difference. A +2 circumstance bonus because of your previous recall knowledge to understand that this is how this is all tied to ancient Thessalonian stuff. So you can attempt that with a +2 bonus.
32 did not make it.
Correct.
Oh. Come on, Marda.
Oh, I'm scared now. Okay, I'm gonna do religion. 35.
35.
He's
Yeah.
smiling.
Oh no.
Come on.
That is not enough.
I couldn't get it.
You've searched through everything you can recall, all of your studies, and even though you've touched on in your studies some of the pre-Starfall lore and things like that, at best you found fragments. And even those that were pieced together don't make sense without context. This is something that is far beyond anything you have ever witnessed. Teera, you had a
24.
24.
Mhm.
That is one fail. You feel your life force leaching out.
Oh.
Teera, you are now drained 1 and sickened 1.
Oh, I hate sickened. That's the
Your
worst fucking
hit
condition
points-
in this game.
Your hit points are reduced by where did it go? Your hit points are reduced by 8, and your maximum hit points are reduced by 8 until the drain condition is removed.
Okay.
Those of you observing, see Teera and the Pit Fiend. Actually, let me do this. So that was fortitude. Where is it? Okay, so that's 21. Okay. You see Teera suddenly convulse, and you see a pulse of light come out of her eyes and mouth, and you see just a slight change in Teera's pallor, and you see for a moment, Marda, something that is similar to what you experience. You see from around her eyes and her mouth, you see very tiny veins of black beginning to spread out. In the other chamber of the infernal engine, the Pit Fiend, and you see that its body is racked, but you do not see the same violent reaction that you saw from Teera. Teera, I need you to make another saving throw.
Okay.
Fortitude.
Okay. That one's a 32.
Again, there's a pulse of energy, and you see as Tira's body convulses. This time, instead of arching her back, she convulses forward, and her head throws back, and you see another burst of light, and you feel a rumble in the dam, identical to the same surge from the pit fiend. Teera, you have passed
Oh,
your
Jesus
second
Christ.
check.
Okay. Oh, God. All right.
At any point, Flip or Marda, if there's anything you want to attempt, you can interject. At this point, though, as this is happening, you see Kane tries to throw himself against. He tries to reach through the sigils, through this magic energy, to grab hold of Teera. Oh my gosh! As Kane reaches towards this, before anybody can try to stop him, you see him touch this energy, and Kane is thrown across this chamber, skidding across the floor, and knocked unconscious. He critically failed in his check.
Jesus.
Teera, you now feel yourself in the pit fiend. Your life forces are intertwining as they reach throughout this overall mechanism, and you're feeling the first beginnings that these are starting to open. You feel the first of the floodgates beginning to stop. Rather, it stops shuddering, and it's beginning to open and release water. I need you to make another fortitude save.
Okay. 28.
Teera's back convulses, arches backwards again, and the black veins spread from her eyes and her mouth and begin to move down her neck. Teera, you have failed your second check. You are now drained 2 and sickened 2. You lose 16 HP, and your max HP is now reduced by 16. Those of you watching this, it doesn't take any kind of special recall knowledge to know that whatever Teera is attempting to do in this ritual, it doesn't seem like she's succeeding, as the visual evidence would tell you.
Marda, I'm loath to admit this, but I don't think my suggestion to Teera to go into that circle was a great one.
Motherfucker.
He looks and nods. You can see that she's trying to think of like anything that they can do to help Teera. No, I think this was a mistake on your part. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I mean, more a mistake on her part for listening to me. You know, she was just spitballing, brainstorming. You can't really fault someone in a brainstorming session. It's there's no wrong ideas in a brainstorming session. It's acting on the brainstorming session. So really, this is completely Teera's fault. And let the record reflect that there's no wrong ideas in a brainstorming session.
Flip and Marda, you would notice that Vornush'ka is gripping the blood axe tightly and is staring intently at you, Flip.
Ooh.
Flip is gonna look at Vornush'ka, and he's gonna open up his hands and say, "I'm right here."
Oh shit.
I'm just trying to decide if anything happens to Teera. if I should hold you accountable.
I said what
Yeah,
I said. Ham hocks.
I think that not knowing exactly what Teera is going through in there, not knowing anything about her health state or anything like that, I think the most that Marda can do at this point is to pour her own curse in to try and help Teera in any way. She sees the vein things, so she knows that Teera is suffering, and so just gonna cast Lifelink on Teera.
Oh.
Lifelink.
Which means that Teera recovers, not that it matters, I don't think, but Teera recovers 8 hit points. But in addition, every time Teera takes damage, she reduces it by 5, and I get that at 5.
What is your spell casting DC?
That's a great question. 25.
I would like you to make a fortitude saving throw versus your 25 is your DC, you said?
Yeah, yep.
Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah. I want you to make the fortitude check versus your DC, but there is an increase to the DC in addition to your own spellcasting DC, as you are attempting to, in essence, you are attempting to merge with more than 10,000-year-old magic. So make a fortitude saving throw versus your DC plus an unknown number.
Woo! 31.
As you make this connection with Teera, what is going to happen? Because you would know as you connect to Teera, and you, in essence, you are almost seeing through her mind at this point. As you make the connection, Marda, you suddenly lift off the ground and convulse, this arcane energy arcing between you, and Marda throws her head back and light begins to spill out. You know that the way in which Teera is losing life force cannot be recovered. There's not hit points to be redeemed. But what you are doing is anytime Teera fails, you are both taking on the drain condition, and you're splitting the loss of HP and max HP.
Okay. All right. That is something.
Thank you.
I'm also going to have...
It's so appreciated.
It lets you fail more.
It also means that... well, I'll tell you what it means in a minute. But one thing that it means is you also will now be making fortitude saves in this arcane engine, as you are essentially hot-wired into the arcane engine. So I need Teera and Marda to make a fortitude saving throw, as the demon does. And you see for the first time the pit fiend convulses forward as it seems that he has failed.
I got a 30 that time. 30.
Marda, you feel that you're not quite connecting with this engine. But in the same way that you have connected yourself to Teera, you feel that the energy, the negative energy that is sort of feeding back through this connection, Teera's success prevents the backflow of negative energy into you, and you do not take any negative conditions from that. Teera and now Marda, you also feel another floodgate beginning to snap into place. The massive gears underneath shifting into position, and the rumbling through this entire thing sort of settles in as another floodgate is opening. I need everybody to make that fortitude check once again.
When you say everybody,
That does not include Flip or Vornush'ka, those that are connected to the ritual.
I got a 34.
1.
You got a 1?
Re-roll it.
31.
Re-roll.
31.
Oh,
31.
I was
Oh,
just
Jesus
saying.
Christ.
I was saying, you're awful calm for having rolled a natural 1.
No.
Dude, they're just like, 1. Like, what?
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
I'm
How are
gonna
you not
roll.
fine?
I'm gonna roll for the Pit Fiend. Also a 31. You feel, all three of you,
Bro.
you feel this arcane trifecta come together. Am I still here? I'm getting a low. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I got a message that
mhm.
my bandwidth
Yes.
was dropped. You feel this trifecta of energy,
It's a little low, but it's fine.
and as the three of you connect, and Marda, you now, as this full connection happens, you can feel this sensation of negative energy and evil that exudes from this pit fiend. You can almost smell the stench of the brimstone of the hells. This is, I think, with your own knowledge, without even having to make a check on this, this is something from the 9th layer of hell, from Nessus. But you also feel, as two of the floodgates engage now. 4 of the 5 have engaged. The only one that remains is the large one in the middle. I need you all to make a fortitude saving throw.
when you say you all,
I'm referring to those in the ritual.
I'm going to use a tome.
At 23 again.
I'm going to use another tome. I'm going to use another fucking tome. That's 3. I've bought a lot of these motherfuckers. Okay. It's a 36.
Marta got a 23.
Yeah.
That is a 32 from the Pit Fiend. Marta, you're in over your head. You know that. You know that while your intention was to try to stop Teera from dying from this, and you maybe have helped to some degree, you also know that much more of this, and you yourself could end up giving your life force for this mechanism, or transferring your life force into this pit fiend. But as these thoughts are coming to your mind, these realizations, I would like you actually, Marta, to go ahead and make me a recall knowledge religion.
I'm going to re-roll that.
Good for you.
I-
Good for
I
you.
want to know. I want to know.
Can you show me? I want to know about the copyright.
One more time. One more
Yeah,
re-roll.
burn them. Fucking burn them. We've got 25.
Do you believe in life after dance?
Okay. That's a 33.
Nice.
After I rolled a 1 and a 3.
Reasonable.
I can feel the
the sensation that you're feeling from this in this moment, as you realize that with your powers combined, you can feel the last floodgate engaging. You feel, and all of you that are you and Teera and the Pit Fiend, the knowledge that the ritual was a success and that the floodgates are engaged. You can feel the Storval Deep, the pressure releasing as the water is beginning to flow through the floodgates and spill forth from the front of this dam, relieving that pressure. But Marda, you realize that there was an unforeseen cost in this. As Marda, you are the first, because you are outside of these magic circles. Your connection to Teera is severed. You can attempt to maintain it, but you would have to make a DC against your own spell save to attempt to maintain it. I will tell you that what you sensed before this connection starts to break. The Pit Fiend is beginning to disintegrate. It gave of the last of its life force. But its soul is tethered to Teera. And it is attempting to bind itself to Teera.
Okay, yeah, she's gonna try and stay connected just to, We're gonna see Fortitude.
It is a Fortitude saving throw against your spell's DC with the additional plus that you don't know.
Wow.
It's like the music knows how tense it is. It's just one droning note.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a 13.
This is too much. This ancient magic, you don't know anything about it, and with the combination of the connection to negative energy and combining with your own magical energies as they're derived from Pharasma, there is an arcane spark, and you are forcibly ejected from this connection. As you drop to the ground and your vision and sight restores, and Flip, you see this too. You see the Pit Fiend. The arcane energy is arcing across its body, and you begin to hear this unearthly and, in the truest sense of the word, ungodly crying from the hells. This as this thing is crying out. Teera. Let me just double check.
While Jake is double checking, please feel free to check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we have great new t-shirts like these that have a character type. And also the Paradise, Michigan logo tee on mugs, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and so much more. Teespring.com. Just search Many Terrain Domain. What?
Teera, you feel you know that you were successful. You know that Marda connected and helped. You also feel this pit fiend is attempting to ride the connection and use it as a way to hold you to your promise. You can either let it happen, or you can attempt one last very high DC fortitude save. But you know this is the cost of what you've done. So it either happens, or you can attempt to stave it off.
Teera, she would attempt to stave it off, I think. I think, yeah. And she probably does not. That's a 22.
The arcane sigils from the magic circles drop, and you watch as in that western chamber where the pit fiend was, falling like a hellish snow globe, is just this rain of crimson ash falling into a pile on the ground. Teera drops to the floor of her magic circle, but as she does so, she drops into a crouch, both hands on the ground. It takes you a moment, Teera, to reconcile with the fact that you've lost this connection where you could feel every fiber of this dam. The sense of relief at no longer feeling the pressures of billions of gallons of water, but the knowledge that that water pressure is being relieved. The last traces, the last vestiges of this connection through this ritual. And as you sit there feeling the very warm stone beneath your fingers, you feel exhausted. You are currently at drained 2 and sickened 2. And you hear a voice say, "You promised, and I'm gonna hold you to that promise."
And Teera, in her mind, she doesn't say this out loud, but she would just kind of say, "I meant to. I swear it, I would have. I didn't know it would kill you. I didn't." And that's
in
it.
this moment, Teera, you know that he knows you're telling the truth. You also know that he was attempting to get you to free him before you attempted the ritual, and had you done so, he would have immediately used the last of his energy to teleport back to the hells.
Motherfucker. So I don't feel so bad. Thanks for
Teera,
letting me know that.
you are now soul-bound to the pit fiend. You, along with these thoughts, you immediately know that the pit fiend's name is Avaxiel. You also now know Celestial, Draconic, and Infernal languages.
Nice.
You have Dark Vision. You are Fire Resistance 10. I will send you all of this information. You are Weakness to Good 15. In Pathfinder's terms, Fire Resistance 10 means you reduce any fire damage by 10. But if you take any damage from good sources, you will take an additional 15. You are weakened to, you have a weakness to silver. You have a +1 status bonus to all saves versus magic. And there's one last thing in here. that I'm going to not say out loud. But you have one additional feat that you have gained. I am going to DM that to you on Discord, this full list.
Thanks.
I tried to figure out, I do not know how to add those custom abilities. It's exactly as it's written when you look it up.
Okay.
I will leave that to you when you choose to reveal it. But you also know, in all of this, this comes with a price. You know that the Pit Fiend's soul is bound to your own soul, and you can feel him biding his time. He will hold you to your promise, whatever that means. What do you all do? Teera, you're still crouched down, having not stood up or moved yet.
Teera like immediately vomits. Like she's got sickened too, and this has all been obviously very draining, and yeah, it's gross.
So I will say there's at least a yellow. I believe there may be a red light on vomiting sound effects. We'll keep the sound effects or the role play on vomiting, but it is part of the nature of the sickened condition. I will tell you that the nature of the drained and sickened conditions you have, you lose 1 level of drained every time you take a full rest.
Okay.
You cannot reduce your sickened condition until you reduce your drained condition. Meaning, until you're drained 1, you can't attempt to reduce your sickened condition, which is done by attempting a fortitude save and attempting to expunge the sickness from your physical body. So that is how that's going to work.
Okay. So Teera would look up and just kind of reassessing her surroundings, and she would look at Marda and she would just like kind of squeak out a thank you and go back to what she was doing before.
And you see, beyond Flip, Vornush'ka, and Marda, you see Kane lying unconscious on the floor.
She would scramble over to him. Like a couple, as she kind of like finds her feet for a couple steps, she sort of tumbles and falls down again, and then just kind of crawls over to him. Takes him over.
He seems all right. He's breathing. Whatever happened, he got knocked unconscious. He's going to have a bump on his head. Vornush'ka looks over top of you and Kane at you, Flip, and just says, I won't have to kill you today.
You're lucky you didn't have to try. The blood axe would have gotten some blood. It just wouldn't have been mine.
In response to that, you just see Vornush'ka look at the blood axe and kind of chuckle. Yeah, I know. Kane kind of... and he looks up at you, Teera. What? Oh. Did you do it? Are you? And he kind of reaches up. And there are still trails of these dark veins from your eyes and running from the corners of your mouth down your neck. You don't know that. You can't see this. But he reaches up and kind of traces along your jawline and next to your eye. You look like shit.
Teera laughs a little bit, and she would just kind of like pat him on the chest, and she would just say, like, I'm fine. You need to rest.
Marda is going to go up to Teera. I saw a glimpse of what you were dealing with. It was too much for me. and she says as she rests her hand on your shoulder. You can see that she similarly has those veins encroaching up her neck, like just from trying to help you. But she is going to cast restoration and heighten it on Teera, which I can reduce it by 2, I believe.
Wow.
You can reduce
just work, or is this a
clumsy.
check?
You can reduce clumsy. Wait, does heightened do other conditions?
Yeah, heighten, add drained to the list of conditions I can reduce.
Fuck
So
yeah,
heightened
dude.
4.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. I believed you. I just want. I'm trying
Yeah,
to understand these abilities as they come up, and I want to see where they are because heightened is a new concept for me too. So
Yeah, I had to make sure that Oracle was a spontaneous spellcaster, which they are, which means I can heighten it, but just use up the spell slot. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, what does that look like as you do reduce the drain condition from Teera? Yeah, go ahead and describe that.
Yeah, so Marda rests her hand on Tira's shoulder, and as she's talking, Teera, you can feel a revitalizing warmth flowing from Marda's touch as she looks to you with like a lot of sympathy in her eyes. It is no easy feat going up against the fiend. You did very well, very well.
I would say this whole time, not the whole time, but close to it, Teera hasn't been facing you. She's still been kind of looking at Kane. And when she turns to face you, you would see that Teera is crying, like hard. And she's got like this, she's like trying to keep it together as long as Kane has eyes on her. But when this revitalizing energy fills her, she would just turn again. And right when Marda says you did well, she would just kind of nod. And then she would hug Marda and just sort of bury her face. And Teera's like on the ground now, so she would like kind of hug Marda, and like as soon as her face is like in your shoulder, you would feel her like sob and try to keep it quiet, but she recognizes the gravity of what's happened and what she is now, and it's pretty heavy.
Marda will like let Teera stay there as long as she needs, kind of like busying, like she'll like kind of push Teera back a little bit, but still like kind of holding onto her chest, and holding onto her shoulders, and still gives Teera a moment by not only pretending but also actually looking over for like wounds and like anything like that, just giving Teera that space that she needs, where Marda's busying herself being the healer that she is.
And you see the as you're checking her over through the act of your restoration, you see those black veins, those tendrils receding. Teera, your max HP will go back up, but your actual HP is still reduced.
Okay.
And you are no longer drained, but you are still sickened 1 and 2. A note on sickened: you cannot willingly ingest anything, including potions and things like that, and elixirs, while you are sickened. Doing so will just make them come right back up.
Okey-doke. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Teera, this kind of goes on for a bit, and yeah, Teera looks like she's struggling with something more than you guys would have ever seen.
Definitely at some point while all of this time is passing, maybe 5 minutes goes by before Vornush'ka kind of heavily leans against the wall, and you just hear, "This is very awkward."
She. Teera doesn't react. Any other time she would tell Vornush'ka to go fuck herself. But Teera doesn't react. And that's mainly that's like probably the most concerning thing of all. Teera just kind of finally sits up against a wall and is kind of looking into the middle distance and trying to keep it together. And she would you would notice she would give one little dirty look over to Flip.
Oh, hey there, Teera. Looks like you came out of that more or less okay. Good job. Well done.
She doesn't say anything. She just looks back at you.
You know, these things, they make us stronger and whatnot. Could always be worse. Look, the pit fiend died, so that's good, right? Don't have to release it back to tormenting the souls of the innocent anymore. So it worked out for everybody.
Teera would start breathing heavy and look and just say, "Flip, I think you should give me some space."
Alrighty. How much space do you want? Like 5 feet?
I want you to get away from me and I want you to stop talking to me.
All right. Flip is going to turn away, but he's as he does so, he's going to sort of walk out of the room a little bit. But as he does so, he's going to turn around and say to Teera, he's like, "You know, people generally think I'm a delight." And then he's going to walk out of the room.
And as soon as he's gone, Teera breathes like a very small sigh of relief that she doesn't have to deal with this shit right now. Yeah, just kind of sits there.
Kane kind of looks at you a little worried, and then looks over at you, Marda. Keep an eye on her. Come on, Vornush'ka. And they're going to leave the room as well. Which, a quick note, as Flip, Kane, Vornush'ka head back into the other room, you would notice that you would hear coming from that door to the right, where the model of the dam was, you can hear running water. Marda and Teera, as the two of them leave, do you do anything or do you sit in silence?
I imagine we would sit in silence for a while. What do you, Em?
As you...
Yeah, I think Teera...
Go ahead.
I think Marda, seeing Teera, realizes that she probably needs some time, some space, just some quiet. But if Teera looks like she's gonna get up and leave, then I think Marda would say something. But until then, would be, sit in silence.
And as the two of you sit there, silently processing what happened, you feel beneath your feet the floodgate mechanisms no longer rumbling. You feel a steady, dull bass roar of millions of gallons of water relieving the pressure, the store wall deep. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Awesome. Oh my god.
All right, we're going to take a few minutes and let some players catch their breath. And we'll be back in a few minutes. See you on the other side. And we're back. All right, so we have decided that it's not often that you guys get the calm music. We have decided that we are fast forwarding a couple days after the incident at Skull River Crossing. It is very important to note that upon leaving the depths of Skull River Crossing, Flip made sure that the Troll King, Grazul, and his tribe knew exactly who was responsible for saving the day. And in the manner of that they are friendly to you and that they won't bother you, you get some grunts of satisfaction, and they don't impede your progress in any way. I would say that because of your dramatic success in the initial negotiations, you have secured, the Troll King would have given you a bone of some creature, probably some like a wildcat or something like that, that has a rough scrimshaw carved into it in the sigil of their tribe, that anybody bearing that skull would be treated the same way you are, as in they won't molest you in any way, and you will have free passage. I could have used a better word than that, but you know what I mean. You know what I meant.
Indeed.
I mean, did I?
Noted.
Teera, just for giggles, just for giggles, I would like you...
So damn glad to be alive. Thank you guys for for the moral support. Heck yeah. I
would like you in your couple days of travel. I just gotta double check this real quick. Where is it? I would like you to make a fortitude check. Fortitude save, actually.
Okay. 33.
All right, make another one.
Nat 20 for a 37.
So, within that first day, there's a couple times where Teera, you are refusing food. Even the thought of eating makes you sick. And we all know what it's like when you have a very upset stomach. You're nauseous. You feel that sickness, but it's before midday on that first day of travel. After running to the side of the road and returning, wiping your mouth, you very quickly overcome the sicken conditions. It only takes an action to beat the fortitude save.
Awesome.
So it does not take you long at all with that crit. By the time that first night rolls around, you are fixing to devour some of what was her name? Mrs. Hankinson's pies that you all have.
Fuck yes.
But the next couple days, I will say that when you emerge and fill in the Rangers of the Order of the Black Arrow, what happened, they take that information, and they do tell you that they will keep an eye on the activities of the trolls. Mm-hmm. But since you brokered some kind of truce with them, they won't do anything to aggravate the trolls unless the trolls do something to cause problems. They are going to...
Real quick, Teera would also inform them of the whole situation with how often the dam needs life. I think we decided it's 40-something years. It's basically it's less about the time,
and more about whenever there's storms that flooding is enough that the store vault deep threatens to overflow the dam, that the floodgates will need to be, somebody will need to step in there, and will be willing to sacrifice some of their life force. With 2 healthy people, you have a feeling that it would be much less trying than with a healthy person and a dying pit fiend.
Got it. I tell them all that.
But by late afternoon of the second day, you all find yourself once again strolling into the town of Turtleback Ferry. You see in the, I think it's been like 4, maybe 5 days since you guys left Turtleback Ferry, that they've made repairs to the buildings that were damaged by the flood. They've created a small flood wall with sandbags and timber structures, and you can see that the ferries for which Turtleback Ferry gets its name, which are giant turtle shells that have been inverted that form these ferries. You can see them, one of them making its way back across the lake. The town is seems to be overall in a spirit of everybody working together to try to make the repairs, but there's still that underlying tension. Or rather, I take that back. Because the other thing you would have seen is that the floodgates, with the torrents of water rushing forward, it did cause the river to rise a little bit. But that's where these flood walls they've created have helped to stave off some of that. This is normal flooding, expected flooding. And when the waters, by the time you return, the water's already starting to recede a little bit as the pressure's been relieved. You can see that there's an air of celebration. And somebody spots you all approaching, and a shout goes through the village, and before you know it, the same people that saw you off when you headed off a few days ago are lining the street and welcoming you back. Is there anything in particular you would like to do in this moment? I would say they would quickly lead you to the same hall, and there's sort of a because this wasn't a planned thing, what you see is whatever people were beginning to have prepared for their suppers at their homes, people just bring it all to the hall. So there's a huge this is a potluck, a big old potluck, as people are just bringing whatever they had to the hall, and you are all invited to partake if you wish. Is there anybody in particular anybody would like to talk to, or anything you want to do? Or do you just want to sleep in a bed?
Teera would eat and drink, heavily drink. But a couple times throughout the night, for the first time in however many days it took to get here, you would see once in a while, when the party really seems lively, you would see her smile, a very small smile.
Anybody else?
Throughout the night, people are coming up to Flip and making requests and saying, "Oh, what are you gonna play?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm busy." And then under like a duress, he would relent to the pressure, and he would perform a ditty.
Yeah, let's go ahead and have you roll a performance, and I'll give you a +2 circumstance bonus.
Dude, let's go. Woo.
Okay, so he's gonna start singing. We opened the gates so you knew none of you would die. Something else that rhymes with die. You gotta open gates, prevent a flood, and wash away. Oh, shitballs. That's okay. That is a 36.
Ooh.
That is a
Billboard
critical
top 10.
success. This is one of your best shows that you've ever performed.
Oh my god.
You can have a little narrative control about how great this was and how the crowd reacts to it.
So, it starts slowly, where it's just sort of like people are looking at each other, like down, like sheepishly. And then slowly, the energy in the crowd begins to grow as they realize they are seeing in person one of the most glorious and famous figures anywhere on this continent. And as the song builds to a crescendo, there's a spontaneous outpouring of what can only be described as unadulterated joy, as the feelings of being saved and this amazing performance all culminate in what is borderline tastefully orgasmic.
Awesome.
Did you say
Awesome.
tastefully orgasmic?
That's
That
right.
Needs to be a t-shirt. Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take long before many people are stumbling home in the dark. You hear all throughout the streets as people in pairs and triplets, in larger groups, drunkenly wandering back to their homes, all of them singing the various flip songs they've heard throughout the night.
Amazing.
You are... Let me try this. I'm trying to find... The people of Turtleback Ferry don't have a lot of money, so they don't tip you in coin. But some of them bring over various desserts and things like that that were not yet touched. And there is a... Oh, where did it go? Yeah. There are... Roll me a d6.
Four.
4 bottles of Brimble Sweet wine, which is a white wine, have
Ooh.
been left as a tip as well. It's not a
Damn.
particularly expensive wine, but it is a wine that is favored by the Brimble Sweet halflings. It's a lovely, crisp, tropical and citrus flavored wine. And I can't remember. I think you guys had Brimble Sweet, or somebody had Brimble Sweet before transposing to Galorian. But you have 4 bottles of Brimble Sweet wine.
Okay.
Nice.
And... Well, did Marda want to do anything this night?
Marda is keeping an eye on both Teera, but also Vornush'ka.
Hmm.
Just kind of watching especially the axe, and you know, yeah, she's still remembering the conversation she had with the axe, which was not overly pleasant. And now there's a, interaction with a fiend. Like it's a lot of evil to have in a centralized group. So, and if Marda knows anything, it's about evil in centralized groups. So she's just keeping an eye out.
Amazing.
I will say that we will, in the next game, hopefully next week when Ricky's here, I will have Vornush'ka make a couple of rolls that I would have had. I don't want to do this myself, but that will determine sort of over the last few days the behavior that you've observed in Vornush'ka. Overwhelmingly, though, the town is very thankful. The mayor, who is also the priest, the cleric of Aristil, Father Malin Shreed, again expresses his gratitude. And you all know, whenever you leave in the next day or two or whatever, you have been assured that you always have a safe harbor and a warm hearth and full bellies anytime you pass through Turtleback Ferry. As you all turn in for the night, you all get a long rest. And when you awaken the next day, you feel a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna have you guys after the game do your actual leveling up, unless you're doing it now. Whatever. I guess it's easier with Pathfinder. So you will have restored the usual number of hit points, Teera, which is, I can't remember how the rest numbers work right now. It's your
con times
level. It would be 8 times your con for your restoration. You all are leveling up to level 9.
Yay!
Were you not level 8?
We were level 8.
No, I'm looking at M.
Marda.
M has that look like...
Fucking M.
That looks like a level 7 look to me, at least.
M's been operating at level 5 this whole time.
What level was Marda?
7.
Well, this will be a big bump for
Marda.
Marda.
How did I miss that? Why did I
I
think it was 7?
I don't know. This will be a big bump for Marda then.
You know what?
Oh no.
This party has really broadened Marda's horizons, and Marda levels 2 levels.
Well, wow, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I will say, the next day, as you all wake up and you are treated to breakfast, if you wish, various people gave you places to stay in their homes.
The beds are comically too small for Teera.
I think even if they were standard sized beds, they would be comically too small for Teera.
That's fair. That's fair.
I do need... Teera, I need you... Well, first I have to do something. But I need you to make a fortitude saving throw when you wake up.
Yikes. Come on, fortitude saving throw. 24.
You wake up and you don't know if it's the amount of drinking you did the night before or the stress of the last few days. But you start coughing violently, and before you can even get out of bed, you get sick, and what you see looks like tar. It looks like a black ichor and smells of sulfur, and you feel just a little point of satisfaction from your dark passenger, and you sense that over the last couple of days, Vaxiel has just gained a slight bit more strength. As you're sort of recovering from getting sick, you hear a voice. Oh dear, I kind of thought you might have this reaction waking up in the morning. I'm sorry, I'll lower my voice. I don't mean to pierce into your head. You see a halfling man.
I'm fine.
I'm
fine. What do you need?
I don't suppose you remember our conversation last night? You have a vague recollection of what in your mind is twins or triplets that look like this halfling attempting to have a conversation with you, but you had no idea what he was saying, and the more the night went on, he seemed to multiply, but that might have just been your vision.
Oh my god. So Teera kind of smiles and she's like, I'm sorry, I don't.
I was pretty pissed last night too. A lot to celebrate, and that's because of you and your friends.
Yeah.
You probably then don't remember. I'll reintroduce myself. I am Bradford Cram, and this is my wife, Lisbeth.
Yeah.
And you see a halfling woman, and then behind them you see a familiar-looking pigtailed girl. And I hope you remember Tabitha. She was the one that almost got swallowed by the Froggamoth.
Oh, okay.
And that you all saved.
Mm-hmm. I actually do remember her, and Teera would smile.
Well, do you think it would be possible if you could get your friends and meet back at the workshop out back? You can follow the forge sounds. We run the blacksmith in town.
Oh, yeah, sure can. Why?
Well, Lisbeth and I have been talking, and we would like to give you and your friends something as a show of appreciation. There's no price that can be put on Tabitha's life, but, well, get your friends and meet out back at the blacksmith.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you more.
And Teera would kind of like get out of bed and and duck down to get out of the front door and kind of make her way into the city to look for Flip and Marda.
Doesn't take long. It's a small town.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
And Vornush'ka and Kane.
Yeah.
And we'll do sort of a wipe transition as you all show up. You see behind the house that you stayed in, Teera, sort of behind and off to the side, you can see the fire burning, and you can hear the sound of hammer on steel. And when you all come around the side, you see that it's Lisbeth, who is wearing the leather sleeves and the leather apron, and she's got a big old hammer, and you can see that she's got a big piece of metal, and you just hear that tung 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 tung, and see the sparks flying. Upon seeing you show up, she takes what she's working on and quenches it, and pulls off her heavy gloves, and Bradford and Lisbeth and Tabitha all come out to greet all of you. Oh, thank goodness you all showed up. There was a small part of me that was worried you might be too humble to accept a gift from us, and might try to skip out, but I was hoping that wasn't the case.
Teera smiles and like nudges Flip, and is like, I think some of us are never too humble.
It's not humility. It's focus on fact.
Well, before everything happened with the storms and the flooding and thankfully you all showing up, Elizabeth and I had fancied ourselves as, well, we thought we might pick up the adventure in life. It was something that we always kind of had in the back of our mind, and we thought maybe we might want to take out there, head out somewhere and venture forth, but, well, almost losing Tabitha has given us, and you all saving her, of course, has given us a bigger appreciation for what is important, and that's bringing Tabitha up in a stable home environment. Adventure can always come at a later time. So, we're not really going to need this, and we want well, we want you to have it. And he walks over to the side of, or rather while he's talking, Elizabeth is walking over to the side of, and around the side of the blacksmith shed. And you see that a very large object covered with a tarp moves forward from the side of this building, and it makes the turn, and this thing is where did I write that down? Is as it comes around from behind this building, you see it coming out from behind the building, and it keeps coming out from behind the building. This thing is 35 feet long.
Holy shit.
And 15 feet wide.
Wow.
As it moves into the yard between the house and the blacksmith shop, Elizabeth climbs down from under part of the tarp at the back of this thing and comes around to the front, and her and Bradford take hold of the tarp. If you could give us a hand with this.
Yeah. Teera jumps right in.
And as you all begin pulling the tarp off, you see what looks like a small sailing vessel. But there's no masts. There are what look like almost like wings coming off the side. There's a sail, almost like a sail, but looks more like a fin coming off the back. There's additional sails off the back, very back, aft end of this thing. And you can see a rudder hanging down. And this entire thing is hovering about 8 feet above the ground.
Oh.
You are being presented with an airship.
Oh, fuck, yes. Yes.
I must admit, I didn't make the whole thing myself. That was salvaged. The arcane nature by which this thing flies is beyond my capabilities, but that part was intact. And we worked on it off and on for the last couple of years, refurbishing it, and
wow.
We christened it with a name that we thought was appropriate for our adventures. If you choose to rename it, I guess that's up to you, but we would like you to have the Zephyr Hawk.
Mm.
And this isn't fully complete. It's something I'm working on, but roughly it's like this. I'll send you a picture.
Oh, cool.
It is the top deck of this ship. This airship has basic controls, and enough room on the top for a few people. Like I said, this thing's like the size of a motorhome. And also, what's a motorhome, right? But there's also, as they show you around on this thing, you see that there is a hatch that leads down into a below decks. It's a little cramped, but there are sleeping quarters below deck as well as cargo space down below deck. It also, though I didn't have it represented on here, it has a ballista that is mounted on the foredeck.
Oh, damn.
I will present you all with stats at a later time, between now and our next session. But basically, Bradford and Elizabeth are very proud of this thing, and you can tell that they are very happy to present it to somebody who they think will use it. There are lots of comments about how they would have just been fledgling adventurers and probably would have wound up crashing it into the mountains or getting eaten by trolls. But they bestow the Zephyr Hawk upon you all.
Cool. Teera is like walking back and forth under this thing, kind of still astounded that it's just sort of hovering. She's like kind of like looking for wires. Like she knows magic exists, but this is something like she's never seen before. This is very cool.
So, in the next day or two, I will let you all decide in the interim how many days you spend in Turtleback Ferry. I will also get you an updated calendar so we can get back to specific dates so you know how long you have until the Blood Moon. But that will also give you time to determine or to inform the mayor and anybody else that needs to know in town about the needs that you've learned about for the dam and how it works. But I think with the leveling up to level 9 and the acquisition of a small airship, that is where we are going to end this session. A little bit early tonight, because you all will also need to determine where you're going to go, what direction you're going to take to get where you're going to go. Which means in the meantime, I will give you some specific information about the regions that lie between here and the Gravelands where you're heading, and where some of the nearby settlements and things like that. So you all can decide your path, but you have approximately 3 weeks until the Blood Moon. Oh, and Teera has a pit fiend soul bound to her. So there's also that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that.
So, all right. Well,
amazing.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Awesome.
And Teera, you didn't die. So, I mean, there's that.
That's always good. That's always good.
Essentially, though, I think that it's safe to say that since we started playing in the Pathfinder system, we've essentially finished your first small arc, dealing with saving Turtleback Ferry and the Skull River crossing. So we'll figure out between now and next week what that means and all that other stuff. I'll get you that information, and then that way I'll get it to you soon, because I need to plan for what's coming up in the next session based on where you all decide to go. So reminder to everybody watching, you can tune into Erasmus Expeditions on YouTube tomorrow night to catch me and some other awesome people playing in a new game called Household. It's a new system called Household with Jeremy running the game. And of course, we'll be back here on Thursday for Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, where they also just finished an arc last week, and we have to see what they're going to do next. So,
what great bookends!
A little bit of parity between the systems, but thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Whether you were actively in chat or you're somebody that likes to lurk in the background, we appreciate you. Or if you're watching with us on VOD at a later time, come join us live sometime. Or don't. That's up to you. Either way, we're glad you're here.
That was an excellent call to action, Jake.
Right?
Hey,
it's a non-committal call to action. It's a call to well, you do what you want.
It's a call to meh.
Yeah, it's called to meh.
Live your life.
We'd love to see you. We'd love to see you, but if you don't want to be here, don't. Anyway, with that, I also want to say as always, a tremendous thank you to these awesome players. I just love that we get to experience this system and this game and this world together, and I'm really starting to feel like I'm adjusting and kind of breaking in the system, and I've with every game I feel more and more comfortable with it.
Awesome.
And so yeah, thank you to Gary, Cari, M, and though they weren't here tonight, they were here with us in spirit, Ricky and Dwight. Without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want. Metadata.
Call me Captain Flip.
You